Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We're playing in the Harbinger League for the Fall of Oriath expansion, and today we're gonna run our second map, the tier 2 map, Zana's Beach, or the beach. It has the Zana prefix and it has a off the round suffix, so we get a decent chunk of quantity, rarity and pack size all in one, and on a beach that is rather lovely. A quick update in regards to the build and progress so far. I recorded the first mapping episode directly after doing the Kitava fight, and as you might remember, a Kitava fight didn't really go all that well the first time through. I believe we died 2 times, maybe 3 times in the first fight. Main reason for that, it's just red and it's brown all over the place, and if you then also account for just a army of minions of mine running amok, it's really difficult sometimes to see some of the tells on the floor. And the fact that I'm a ranged caster effectively means I'm going to be away from Kitava, so I can't really see anything that he's himself doing to signal the attacks either. So the only way to get better at a fight is by just doing it over and over and over again. So in the end I ended up running it 5 times in a row after doing the map, and made a couple of small changes. I switched over to the Soul of Arakali, so reduced damage taken from damage over time, and the chance to avoid lightning damage is not relevant here, but a little less damage taken over time helps because there are some damage over time components in that fight. But more importantly, Soul of Rislava, which means my life flasks will keep recharging whenever I'm not using them. And more importantly, when they're empty, I cannot use them, so they will automatically fill up charges until I can actually use them again. So that way, it's a little easier to self-heal. On the other hand, I've also brought along Warlord's Mark. I've got a nice spare slot over here, so that's why I put it in. It grants us Life Leech, it grants us Mana Leech, and it grants us a chance to get Endurance charges when we kill monsters. So all of those things together make us a little sturdier. The endurance charges get us a little bit of physical damage reduction. 3 charges is 12% reduced physical damage. Most of the fight apparently is physical and fire damage, so the charges help. But the life and mana leech do help to sustain mana and life a little bit when I'm fighting, so Mind Over Matter has a full mana pool to work with, whereas my life pool I can top it up by attacking some of the times instead of only using my flasks. So less stress on the flasks, auto regenerating flasks, as well as a little bit of leech. Those things add up to make it more doable. Also, if you do the fight over and over and over again, then eventually you will learn the mechanics. As I said, I did it 5 times after the first time I did while recording. The first attempt I died twice, second attempt I think I died once, and the other 3 I did not die. And I just kept repeating it until I died. I played it 3 times through without dying to basically feel like I kind of mastered the fight, or at least I understood it enough to not get murderized. There's a lot of AoE in that fight that just goes from one side of the arena to the other, and it is, if you keep running ahead of the AoE, there's going to be a very small strip of land where you can safely stand, so that is one of the tricks that helps you there. But okay, so after that, the first map was of course ridiculously easy. So what I did was I cleared out all the tier 1 maps already. I did my Zana daily.
Glad you made it back.
So that got her to level 3. Then I bought some of the maps that Zana had to offer. Then the next day I did the Zana daily again, and I bought another couple of maps. So we actually have a fairly decent mapping pool. These are my tier 1 maps, the tier 2 maps that directly upgrade from those, tier 3 maps, tier 4 maps, and then it's going to be tier 5, 6, 7, 8 is going to be over here, and then 9 through 12 here, and then 13 plus over there. So that's just gonna be very useful. I happened to find a divine vessel in one of the maps. I think it might actually have been the arcade map, which contains, if you run the divine vessel along with the arcade map, then killing the bosses, or killing the Herald of Thunder in this case, grants you an upgrade for the Soul of Arakali. which would give us 50% increased life recovery and energy shield recovery if you've stopped taking damage over time recently. So again, that is something that could potentially be useful for the Malachi fight, though the thing is you can't actually do the upgrades until you have defeated Malachi. So it's a nice catch-22, but still useful to have. But I think for now I'd like to go for the Winged Death, which is going to be in the Act 3 channel map. 60% increased life recovery from flasks when used on low life. It is pretty nice making your flasks more potent for those situations where you need them. Since I have no idea how common the vessels are, I'm just gonna hang on to it and only use it on the souls I really want instead of on just any soul that looks convenient. Okay, so with that said, this is just the bit of an update in between, so we can actually get going. Also, we have a full set of Atzeri. I think I'll run that in the near future. So far, tier 1 maps have been ridiculously easy. For Zana, I did a tier 4 equivalent of the Jungle Valley, and I just ran through it like a madman because I was on a strict timer. And that actually worked out pretty well. So let's see how the beach is going to go today. So we have access to Onslaught, Bloodlines and the Beyond, but they're costing quite some chaos. I don't have a lot of chaos, so for now we're just gonna keep what we have. For convenience, I have Engineer's Orbs and a Remnant of Corruption with me. So if you run into something like a Divine Stash or a Essence, then at least I can use these without having to go back. Let's get going.
A paradise. Forever replenished by endless waves teeming with life.
Another thing I did try, something I did try is a cast while channeling Wither with Dark Pact, and I think I had Control Destruction in there. Because of course without Wither I did lose one of my stronger damage bonuses. It's of course in your tooltip you're not gonna see Wither because it increases the damage taken by the foes rather than the raw damage that you inflict yourself. But at 20 charges it is a 2.4 times damage multiplier. So that's 140% more damage. It is rather potent. And with self-cast, or self-channeled I should say, Wither, I could get about 15 or 16 of the stacks going if I kept channeling for 3 to 4 seconds. But the thing is, if you compare the numbers between just self-casting Dark Pact on a 4-link or having a Wither cast while channeling for the for Dark Pact, it's not until you have 12 or more Wither stacks on the enemy that you break even and that you actually start doing more damage. But in most cases, that's not the amount of charges that you will have on enemies. In fact, most of the time you will have quite a few less charges on enemies. So the net effect would be to actually do less damage with, at least on a 4-link with cast while channeling. And another thing is you can't apply Wither to Kitava, and at that moment I was kind of obsessed with killing Kitava. So that didn't really do much. I actually took that setup into the Kitava fight and didn't end up benefiting from Wither. Come to think of it, I don't think Kitava himself can be cursed either. I never actually saw a curse swirl around him. So yeah, there's some oddities there. But as you see, we're more or less just zooming through the map. And I'm level 74. Sure, I've slightly upgraded my gear a little bit over time. +2 to Socket Minion gems, that's a pretty crucial update actually. And no more resists are capped. Got 11% chaos resist. Other resists are simply just slightly overcapped. I think the average here is +10. Actually +20 already. Definitely helps to just feel relatively safe and secure in these maps. Well, the fact that I'm just breezing through here without really too much opposition. Sure, it's a tier 2, sure, it's only a blue map. No, the usual caveats do apply there. But I've played builds in the past that, at this stage of the game, when they entered maps, then they were just chugging along, slowly, steadily, as I usually do. And this is just definitely a whole lot higher power level. Dark Pact itself, the effective damage dealt is around 50,000 DPS right now. And the minions add more or less the same number. So now we're doing about 100,000 effective DPS. And that is if you're assuming our opponent would be the Shaper. That's one of the nice things of the path of building is you can just say, hey, I'm fighting the Shaper today. And apply those resists. So Shaper is the gnarliest boss in the game, so if your DPS looks decent against Shaper, then it's gonna be even better against anything else. So there's that. Glaze, and he is possessed. He is possessed by the Shaper, speaking of. So, Q sales pitch.
An end undone. No matter. The void remains. One more lost world. Insignificant.
The first T2 map that you clear usually results in this specific encounter. We don't have enough space for that one. But it's nice, it's a full clear. So there we have that.
That look in your eye, you've seen it too. The cloaked figure. I think he is the one who's been tampering with the maps, twisting them. My father's journals described beautiful, pristine vistas, but as you have seen, they're now ravaged by vile fiends, and I suspect this cloaked figure is the one responsible. Unfortunately, I have found no trace of him lately, but perhaps we can draw him out. Head out there and mix things up. See if he shows himself again, and see what you can learn. Obviously, be careful. We don't know what he's capable of.
Okay. So there we have it. Beach map completed. Shaper encountered for the first time in the form of a corrupted boss. I think at tier 5 or tier 6 we're probably going to get another encounter with another upgrade. But for now, this is gonna be it. So, I think I'll do the same thing I did before. I'm just gonna have fun on the tier 2 maps myself, and then the next map is probably gonna be a tier 3, and that way we're just gonna breeze through the lower tiers a bit quicker than I normally would, because normally I do like 2 or 3 maps of a tier before I move on. But in this case, because we are so much overpowered compared to the lower tier maps, just gonna run through and then hopefully get to some of the more interesting maps that are going to be slightly more challenging rather than one-sided, because I think that would make for slightly more interesting watching. And of course, at some point in the not too distant future, I think I'll be doing a series as well, because that would be nice to do it with a slightly lower level character. I'm level 74 now, close on 75, but I think a series was somewhere around 70, 72, something along those lines. So would be nice to do that when I'm slightly less than 85 and maybe not have it be as potentially one-sided. So looking forward to that. But with that, I'm going to thank you very much for watching and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.